Tell me about yourself. And this is a very open-ended question, probably the most crucial question in any interview, particularly so in your MBA entrance exam, post-entrance MBA interview question. Right? So we already have one video on this, which is pretty useful. So go through that. I'm going to take off from there and then continue on a bunch of points. And so first and foremost, the most important idea is to think about this as a pitch document, as a starting point. You get to design where you want the interview to go. And so don't think of this as a factual thing that you need to get out of. If you get a question, if you interview starting with tell me about yourself, you'll be like, look, my chance. I want to talk about myself. I might be the worst candidate in the world, but on this topic, I'm the king. It's about yourself. And so make this into a nice pitch document. That's how you should be thinking about it. So don't make it very factual. Anything I can see from your CV, I can see from your CV. I don't want to see the numbers. I don't want to see the facts. I want to see personality. I want to see character. I want to see you as a human, not as a data set. Right? It can have some personal aspects to it. So you can say, look, I come from a family of business people. I come from a farming family. I come from this area. I do that. My father was this. My brother is now finishes MBA. Any of that is useful. And so make sure that you have a pitch document like answer. Make sure it is conversational, not just a recitation of points. Make sure it is not filtered. You're not counting off 5 things to say. If you meet somebody in a train and you're on a long journey, you're saying, look, hey, what do you do? The answer that you will give there, but in a more formal, structured fashion, is your tell me about yourself answer. And so keep that in mind. Don't go heavy duty into facts and numbers. So I'm going to give a broad overview answer, an example answer for somebody who's probably what you would call a typical candidate in India, which is male engineer, probably working in the tech sector, 2.5 years experience. And so I'm going to start off with that, and then maybe we can have in the comment section, if you have something else, drop in. We'll try to see if we can do a couple of follow-up videos on this. And so, hi, I'm Ram. I work in Infosys. I've been here for about 2.5 years. I come from a middle-class family in Karnataka. My father was an entrepreneur, so I tried different industries. So it was very exciting to have discussions with him on business. I think that's where my first fascination for business education came in. And my mother's been a teacher in a school for a long time. I have a younger sister who's currently pursuing her undergraduation. I had a natural aptitude for mathematics. So in India, if you have an aptitude for math, you tend to go towards engineering and not towards mathematics. So I took the engineering route. I did pretty well in engineering. I was quite fascinated by some of the subjects, and I took to coding really well. I'm a computer science engineer, so that really was a natural extension for me. So I got into one of the best companies in India for what I had learned, and I've done well in Infosys as well. But I realized that here I've become more and more fascinated by the idea of constructing a business, thinking about profitability, thinking about what I can where my client makes money, what is the business role of the technology I'm working with. Long discussions with my father on different business models have also played a role, and I'm drawn to the idea of drawing a business or running a business or working in an organization where I have a business and profitability and revenue responsibility. One day I do hope to start my own company as well. That is that part. And personally, I'm an avid reader, so I read a lot of fiction and non-fiction. I play sports. I watch a lot of sports. My favorite sport is football. I'm mighty glad that football is taking off in India in a big way. Lots of avenues to play and quite a few interesting leagues to follow. So now, that's the end of the answer. So I've outlined about what family is, what they do. I've hinted at why I want to do an MBA, but don't make your answer entirely about why MBA. And I've showcased about what my family is doing. I've talked about my engineering. I've slipped in, done reasonably well. I'm not saying I was a topper. I'm not saying I was poor. This is not a confessional. Those of you who got a 6.8 or 7.1, don't take it as a God-given duty to state that poor academic performance and you tell me about yourself. They see your CV, they know that. And so don't answer follow-up questions. Don't say, look, my CG could be only 6.8, but you know what, I really know engineering. Nobody wants to hear that. Just tell me about yourself. Have a smile on your face. Feel good about the good things that you've done. convey that like you would in an informal conversation, like a conversation with a stranger, but in a more structured fashion. And make it conversational. Don't make it a recital. Don't throw numbers into it. Don't say I've got, as of today, 26 months of experience. I work here. I work in a good client, good role. I've learned something, but I want to do the next thing. So the most critical aspect is to take the 2.5 minutes and say, look, I've seen my numbers, but there's more to me. I'm all this beyond just the 5 numbers and 10 facts that you've seen on my CV. Why don't we talk about that? So you're giving them a series of why don't we talk about, and that's the most important part. If you're from a specific region, if you have a specific background, I've given the outline for a candidate where something doesn't stand out. If something stands out in your CV or your right, so if you run marathons, I'm heavily into marathon running. I run 4 marathons this year. And the Bangalore Marathon was my 14th in the last 6 years. Brilliant. That's something to talk about. If you're a state level volleyball player, I've represented my state in volleyball. It's a wonderfully entertaining game. I'm really glad that I took it up when I was in college. I realized I had a flair for it. I had the talent for it. My build also helps. And then I become this. So, or if you're from a state that's going into elections, say I'm very interested in politics. I follow local politics very seriously. That means you're basically saying, suppose you're from Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu has probably more political parties than we can count in our fingers right now. There's more people with chief ministerial ambitions than an average size bus. So there's a lot to talk about. So if you're from Tamil Nadu and you say, look, I'm very interested in politics, and the guy is going to say, so you've had 5 CMs. All of your CMs now, your countries, and you have 10 people that I know who want to be CM. So what is it? How do you think Rajinikanth will play out or Kamal Haasan will play out? So you're giving them a starting point. So if you have anything distinctive that you can either position clearly or even contrive if you have to, then figure that out and push that into your tell me about yourself. So you have to give yourself a chance that your interview will be entirely about that thing, not other thing, and you're prepared well for that, so you nail everything that comes out after that. Fine. So make it conversational, make it engaging, make it exciting, make it like a fun thing to talk about. And so tell me about yourself. Most importantly, it's a pitch. It's not an answer. Don't make it a Q&A. And so make it take your opportunity to showcase what you're about beyond the numbers. That's how you should think about it. Then you can construct your answer better. Right. Best wishes.